In this video, we are going to find the answer to these two questions. Why optional? Do we really need optional? As we know, in Java 8, optional is introduced. So let's check out why do we need optional. Let's go to Eclipse. To demonstrate, let's create one class. I will name it as a optional example. Okay, so this is generated. Let's try to get one practical example. Give me the name of student when I will pass roll number. Okay, so for it, let's create one like a database, but here I am not going to create a class separate. I will create a method directly private static which will return me a string. I will name it as get name of student from id, where the input to this method will be int roll number. Okay, and it will return me the name of a student. Let's define it by default null return name. Okay, so no compilation error, that's okay. Now let's try to write the logic. So let's take the same list from the previous example. So the list will be like this. It will be from Java util. Arrays are also from the Java util. Okay, let's save it. So what we are going to do, we will iterate on the list. Okay, and we will check if student dot get roll number equal to the pass roll number, then name will be student dot get, not students, it's student. Okay, dot get name, and if found, then break the for block here, right? We don't need to continue. Once we found it, just return the name. Okay, so this is like a database to us, where in the database we have a student. In the student table we have all the rows, different rows, and we are going to iterate over it and return the name of the student if we pass the roll number. So this is our problem statement. Let's call this method by passing one roll number. Okay, let's print out. So this is going to return me a string. So string name equal to this sysout name. So I don't know, actually it's the case. So what I am going to do, I will print the uppercase of the name. Let's run the example. You can see Piyush is printed, right? So like this, we will have a database class. Okay, database, and on that database we have a data layer like this, and there may be many instances in a program where you will call this data layer, okay, class, to get the data from the DB. Okay, so let's try to pass some value. Let's test one more time. So as a user, as a client, I pass this as a 7 and expecting the value of a student as a name. And what happened? To my surprise, it returns null pointer exception because 7 is not in the list, and it returns null name, and I am doing the uppercase on the null, so it will return me a null pointer exception. Okay, but what happened here, when I am calling get name of a student from id, this method didn't tell me that I can return you a null. If it will do something like this, throws exception, then you can see in the method I need to throw or I need to try and catch, but this is the general, this is the super class, right? But if I will say I can throw you a null pointer exception, you can see there is nothing, because null pointer exception is a runtime exception that you don't need to handle in the calling method. Okay, so that's the reason this is also not a good practice, meaning this is also will not solve our issue. Though you are saying I can throw a null pointer exception, please handle it, but this is somewhere I don't know where is the logic written, and I will call this method, and if I don't try or catch or handle the null pointer exception, then this is gone. So this is not making any difference, so I'm going to remove it. So now I know that name can return, any operation on the name can return me the null pointer exception. So it is better to check if name is not equal to null. Okay, and to uppercase of it can return me the output. So now you can see there is no null pointer exception, but here you have a overhead. Every time wherever you are calling this method, you need to handle the null, you need to check every time is the value is null, and then do operation by checking the null. And this is the one instance. In a program or in a practical example, you can have many method like this which are calling the actual get name of a student from id method. Okay, and everywhere you need to handle this. So we need a something, if there is a something that's a good, if this method should tell us that it's possible that I can return you a null and you need to handle it, then that's a good. If somebody missed it also, it will force you to handle it, or otherwise there should be some mechanism where it should be handled directly. Okay, so let's check out in the next video, do we have anything in a Java 8 to solve this problem.